And Robert, my co-chair at OMI, at Open Metaverse Interoperability, is going to share with us a much awaited demo that I am excited to see. So, Robert, I'm going to hop out of here and let you take it away.
Perfect. Thanks so much. So yeah, like Eva said, my name's Robert. I'm one of the co-chairs of the OMI group. In the past, I worked at Altspace and Hubs, and now I work at Element, working on the Matrix protocol and getting voice and video into Element. So this is third room, which is my experiment in designing a decentralized browser-based Metaverse client. It's kind of my side project. It's a test bed for doing a lot of OMI experiments, and it's a project that I want to open source and uh, give out to people so that they can start doing their own experiments. Um, what is it actually? It's a decentralized 3D communication app, um, and you can access it in your web browser. Um, and right now it's pretty primitive. You can create and join 3D rooms, which I'll show how that works in a bit. You can talk to each other with voice chat, and you embody an avatar. You can change the scene in your avatar, and it'll be reflected in the different rooms. And you can navigate to other rooms with links. So it's built as a single-page web app with Matrix, React, 3JS, and a new library called BitECS that came out of another community that I've been working with called the WebECS community. I can share a link in the Twitch chat afterwards for that. But it's really great library. Highly recommend checking it out if you're trying to do larger 3JS apps and you want to keep your performance really good. So the focus of this project is on performance, simplicity, and extensibility. I really want to make sure that you can experience some pretty cool looking things, especially with Web GPU coming out fairly soon. I want to keep it simple because I want you to be able to hack on it. Everyone should be able to like fork it and make it their own. And it needs to be extensible so that you can go and add a bunch of features to it. And then I'm using Matrix for the whole backend. There's no other backend for this thing. It's just a single page web app, and then everything else is served up by Matrix. So Matrix is an open standard for secure, decentralized, real-time communication. It's a chat API, but you can use it for all sorts of different types of chat. You can do text messaging, you can send files, you can do voice and video. You can host like Slack-like communication rooms, or you can build out anything you want. It's in use by the French government. A lot of like private sector organizations really use this, including and some private companies like uh, Mozilla uses it, and a whole bunch of other people. So the Matrix standard is maintained by the Matrix Foundation, and then Element is a for-profit company that makes the products for Matrix, or some one set of products for it, I should say. There's a lot of different Matrix clients out there built by all sorts of different groups with different open source licenses and all that. So you can go and find something written in Rust or something written in JavaScript, or yeah, a bunch of different servers, all that. It's an open protocol, so you can kind of do with it what you want. And disclosure, like I said, I recently took a job at Element working on the VoIP team. So I work on voice and video stuff for Element right now. So what makes Matrix decentralized? So you mostly hear of decentralization when we're talking about cryptocurrency, or I don't know, a lot of different things, but this one uses a federated model for decentralization. Just like Dulce was talking about with ActivityPub, you can host servers. Anyone can host servers, and then the servers communicate with each other, and you communicate with your own home server. So I can host a home server like Third Room IO or Robert Long with me, and those servers will then communicate with each other and share messages to build consensus, basically. So yeah, you communicate with your home server, your data gets stored on your home server, and then based on the privacy rules and all that you've set up, it can share with other home servers. Okay, so here I'm going to show my demo. So to start off, I have a scene here which I've exported from Spoke. It's just a GLB file. This is a scene created by Christian on the Hubs team, and it's licensed with the Creative Commons license. I pulled in here. I've got a avatar in here created by Rhiannon Barry. On the other screen, I have an avatar from Ready Player Me, and yeah, I am moving around on two different browser windows, and all of the messages are being sent over WebRTC. That was a WebRTC data channel that was established through Matrix. And actually, if you could do audio sharing in here, you would hear spatial audio coming out of each avatar. And that's also established by Matrix. Now, another really, really important part of this is if you look at the URL bar, these are on two different domains. So I'm hosting one at vrdance.party and another one at Third Room IO, but they're communicating with each other. And they're loading assets from one of these servers. So these the assets are not hosted on both servers. They're being proxied through the home server coming to you, and you can download it and view all the content, as well as like avatars. Avatars are associated with your user and can be shared with other people in the room. One last feature that I'll show off here is you can go and this is my a test asset, but if I go and click on this, let me get that. Oh, there we go. You can follow links. And so here I am in a second room, also created by the Hubs team and exported out of Spoke. And if I go and add another user to it, you should see them in that room as well. There we go. There's another one. So, and then I can go back to the original room by going on here. I've basically built a web ring. So yeah, that is the basic part of this demo. Let me back out and I'll go back to my slides really quick. All right. So what can we expect in the future? I I built this in a couple weeks, honestly. It wasn't too hard, surprisingly. A lot of things have improved in the last couple of years in the 3GS community, in the GLTF community, and then Matrix really has provided a whole bunch of the hard parts of creating a virtual world client, a social 3D client. So what I want to do next is continue working on this and make it easy to use and look good. Here are some like concept, some vision work for what a future of the client might look like with your friends list and recent rooms that you visited, being able to change your avatar. There you got another Ready Player Me avatar. There we go. And I want to figure out like how does the Matrix ecosystem really fit into here? So Matrix, you can send text messages and video messages. How does 3D and 2D messaging really like fit into each other? Like if I am on my phone, I could probably contact people in the 3D world. How am I displayed to all those different people? How can I use my different devices with their strengths to improve communication? And how do we get this concept of a open standard for a friends list out of Matrix? So that's something I really want to look into. Another thing is this is all done with peer-to-peer networking right now, which is great. It's cool that you can do this without anything more than just a server to set up the connections. But we're in this situation right here, this mesh networking thing. So you're sending around data to everyone in the room, and there's a lot of connections around, and there's a lot of potentials for failures. We could move to something like an MCU, which is mixing audio on a server, but that gets pretty expensive. So you reduce your your upload bandwidth and your download bandwidth. Or we could do a selective forwarding unit, SFU, which reduces your upload bandwidth, which is usually, especially if you're on a mobile device, like your weakest connection. And then your download bandwidth doesn't really change, but you should be able to support a lot more users. And we can get a lot more complex with this, like only downloading data from the people right around you, or whatever we decide on doing. So, and you can definitely look out for things in this area coming out of the Matrix community as we like build out voice and video chat for that as well. And then I would really like to start building out some new features. Like we've been talking about a lot of different experiments that we've wanted to do in Oh My, like inventory and being able to trade items with each other, or in this case, I have a UI for like buying an item. I'd really like to start experimenting with those sorts of concepts in this thing. And then this is built on top of Matrix, but the and the protocols themselves are all they don't have to be done inside of a web browser. You could do them inside of a native client. It's using data channels, but we could send messages that can be received by native clients. So I think there's a lot of work that we could do to figure out how to write common networking protocols for native clients. Anyways,
This is really exciting work, Robert. There's a bunch of questions coming in, and I don't think we can get to most of them right now. We're going to get to some of them later. But first of all, does Third Room have a website yet? This is an early demo for you, right?
It does. You can go check it out. The two domains that I used in the demo are available. The UI on it is there's absolutely no CSS on this. I spent all of the time working on the code, not the UI. So that's a next step for me. I'm gonna get a little bit of styling in there before I open source this, but yeah, you can go and check it out. It's thirdroom.io, and then vrdance.party. I'll keep it up for a little bit, but
Perfect.
yeah.
I think
I might nuke your data, so don't put anything special in there.
be careful, right?
Yeah.
Experiment zone. Mr. Squarepeg asked if Third Room was based on Chromium, but I think you answered a little bit of that. And then there was a question about building games in Third Room, which it sounds like working with other game engines would be the way that would fit together, correct?
I think so. Right now, it's loading up GLTF content, and you can't like sandbox scripts to run on each domain. That would be kind of bad if anyone could just like inject JavaScript into your website and like, I don't know, steal your login information or something like that. So we have to be really careful about how the scripts are done. But we can basically start building standards for behaviors. So if you want triggers, animation triggers in there, then we can build a GLTF extension, and you can add triggers to your scene. But we can work as a community, and each server can decide, well, I want to add this feature to my server, and then this server also adds it, and now they can both use that together. So it's not controlled by any one company, it's controlled by the network.
And Robert, are you maintaining a separate Discord for Third Room, or are you taking DMs on that at this
I
time?
Well, in the spirit of Matrix, I have a Matrix room for that, so I'll
All
bring that
right.
up now.
Yeah, go ahead and drop that in as well in the chat, and we can take more questions at the end.